Imagine a world where families struggle to provide the essentials for their kids and themselves. The essentials include food, water, shelter, and clothing. You guys can stop imagining because this is a reality for 14.8% of the American population. That's roughly 46.7 million people. With this many people affected, everyone here is bound to know someone that's been affected or who's currently being affected by it. Today we're going to discuss the poverty levels in America and what you can do personally to get involved in your community and help out. Now that we've had a quick overview of what we're going to talk about today, let's just dive on into the issue of poverty in America. Like I previously stated, 14.8% of the American population struggle with poverty. According to the National Poverty Center at the University of Michigan, a family is counted poor if its pre-tax money income is below the poverty threshold. Money income does not include Medicaid, public housing, employer-provided health insurance, and food stamps. Now the threshold for 2015, as you guys can see on the screen here, this is what it is. For a family of 4, it's about $24,036. And that's before taxes. And after taxes, they're gonna make even less than that. And if you were to break $24,000 4 ways, that's roughly $6,000 a person. And with that $6,000 a person, they have to pay for clothing, shelter, food. So that money just keeps getting less and less and less for them to use. And with less money in their pockets, families rely heavily on organizations that provide cheap clothing and cheap food. An organization just like the Winona Volunteer Services, where I've been volunteering for the past 2 weeks here, I've seen all walks of life walk through, and it shows that it affects everyone. And I believe kids are the ones that are being heavily affected. A study done by Gupta, DeWitt, and McCowan, titled "The Impact of Poverty on the Current and Future Health Status of Children," published in 2007, it states that on average, children living in a low-income family or neighborhoods have poor health outcomes. According to that same article, poor kids in poor communities are more likely to be diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And this is due to the fact that the processed foods are a lot cheaper than the organic foods. And you guys, when you go grocery shopping, I know you guys can attest to this because organic foods are like $2-3 more. And with the processed food being cheaper, families with less money will go towards it and just buy as much as they can because they'll get more for less. And according to the same article, the infant mortality rate is 66% greater in families with lower income compared to families of higher income. Now that we've discussed the issue of poverty in America, let's talk about how everyone here can get involved and go out and help the community. Now you might be wondering, what can you do personally to help the community? When it comes to poverty, every little thing helps. So it's, you can give money donations or canned food donations, and if you can't do either of those, you can just donate your time and volunteer for an organization that does all those things for people. Like I said before, I've been volunteering for the past few weeks at Winona Volunteer Services, and there I've seen families struggle with food costs and clothing. And what I do there is I pretty much just sort through the donations that we get, and for 4 hours a week, that's what I do. And what that does is, it doesn't seem like much, but it gets the clothes out there for families to buy, and it helps tremendously for the kids, especially if they need something new to wear. Now the way you guys can get involved is you can pretty much just Google a volunteering program around you, and that's a good place to start. And then once you find an organization that you want to volunteer for, you can contact the volunteer coordinator, and then through that person, you can either, give her a call, email, or just drop in. But through that person, set up a meeting, figure out what they're all about, and once, you're satisfied with your choice of where to volunteer, just go out there and help the community. Now that we've talked about how you can help the community, let's imagine a world if no one helped at all. So picture this, kids without clothing because there's nowhere where their parents can buy cheap ones. Kids hungry because parents can't afford to purchase food. And families just without homes because there's no one there to help them through it. Now, if you don't want that kind of life for anyone, just go out there and volunteer and help out your community as much as you can. In conclusion, millions are affected and everyone knows someone that's been affected by poverty. So get out there and get involved and play your part in your community. Does anybody have any questions?